Hello and welcome to Monmouth in Focus, a program about the services and functions of Monmouth County government. I'm Cynthia Scott, your host for Monmouth in Focus. And joining me today is Freeholder Sue Kiley, who is the liaison to the Monmouth County Department of Health, as well as the Public Health Nurse Supervisor, Gerald Crottle. Thank you so much for joining us today here on Monmouth in Focus. It is wintertime, so along with winter comes flu season, unfortunately. So, let's start with you, Sue. How important is it for people to get their flu shots this time of year, and is it too late?
Yep. Well, first of all, it's very important to get a flu shot if you don't want the flu.
Yeah.
And I've had it in the past. I think everybody that thinks about the flu associates it with chills and fever and bed and hot tea. And you don't want to go through that if you don't have to. So it's very important to get your flu shot, and it's never too late to get it either.
It's never too late to get it. And what are some of the recommendations for getting vaccinated?
So the CDC recommends that anyone 6 months and older is eligible and should have a flu shot. And in particular, you know, pregnant moms, senior citizens, anyone that might have compromised health should absolutely get a flu shot. And you can get them, you should get them before the end of October, but you can get them right up until January. As long as the flu is circulating, you're eligible and you should get a flu shot.
And they're very accessible. It's very easy to get. I mean, obviously your doctor carries it, but if you can't make it to your doctor, the local pharmacies usually have it. Some places of work usually have a day where you're giving the flu shot, so it is easy to get.
Yep, absolutely.
But let's talk a little bit about the differences, Gerald, between the common cold and the flu, or just feeling sick in general.
Big difference in the flu and the cold. The cold kind of comes on slowly. You get a stuffy nose. You may get a little bit achy. The flu is severe. It comes on suddenly. You'll see a high fever, headache, severe body aches, and you are laid up for several days. So it's important to recognize the difference in these symptoms.
Right, and like you said, high fever, the chills, the sweats, you're cold, you're hot, you can't get out of bed, you can't eat. You really can't move. I guess that's when you kind of know you have the flu, right?
Yes.
And the other thing is, what types, we talk about vaccines, and are they effective? What's the strain? Are there different types of vaccines out there?
There are. There are a variety of different vaccines out there. In the last year, the Centers for Disease Control has worked with their manufacturers, and they've created vaccines that are now without eggs. Significant amount of people had egg allergies, so now they're eligible as well for a flu shot. There's quadrivalent vaccine, which is the 2A strains and the 2B strains, and most of the vaccines are now made up with that. And they've also reintroduced FluMist with it, which is the nasal spray.
Okay, so they stopped doing that, and now they're doing that again?
They've reintroduced it, yes.
Okay, then when you say they reintroduced it, was it not effective enough last time, or?
No, they had decided that it wasn't effective enough. So that it was reintroduced this year. Sure,
absolutely. So when it comes to the flu, obviously the flu shot's a great way to protect yourself, although it's not 100% proof, because in a way, sometimes, I hate to say it like this, but it is a guessing game because it's tough to find out which strain is out there every year, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
They actually go by the Southern Hemisphere, and they had redone the vaccine this year. Did take a little longer to come out. They were trying to make a closer match. But even if it's not an exact match, you still want to get your flu shot. It still lessens the symptoms.
Right.
Prevents a lot of the hospitalizations that we see with the flu.
Aside from getting the flu shot, what are some other ways to protect yourself from getting sick, getting the flu?
I can answer that.
Okay.
That part I know. It's important that you avoid people that are sick, and if you're sick yourself, that you're not, playing the hero and saying, I can go into work now and I'll be fine. Because what you're doing is infecting other people, and that's the last thing we want to see happen.
Right.
I have grandchildren that go into school and they come home and they don't feel well, and it's better to keep them home a day if you think they're coming down with something than to send them back in.
And the flu spreads very fast.
It does.
I remember a few years ago when you would see on the news the people who would take flights and they'd be wearing the masks, not just on the airplanes but all over the airports. So it's scary out there. I mean, there are fatalities as a result of the flu. Every year you hear it.
Well, and I hear the grandkids coming in talking about all the kids that are out of school. You know, this is how many classmates we had today, and this is how many we had yesterday, because the kids get it and they're smart enough to stay home until they recover.
And it's important to tell the kids to, you know, kids are coughing all over the place.
Exactly right.
Right, they put their hands in things. Sometimes they forget to wash their hands. You know, cough in your sleeve. You know, just take those certain types of precautions if you can.
Jarrell, I remember learning in nursing school that the most critical, most important thing you can do to not spread infection is hand washing.
Hand
With
washing.
soap and water.
Yes.
And that has not changed. That's the most important thing we can be doing.
So
is
important.
often.
Yes.
And again, the symptoms of the flu that differ from the cold is it comes on right away. I guess that's
It's
a
a
big
quick
telltale
onset.
sign, because you know when you're getting a cold, you're like, my throat's a little raspy, I'm not feeling so great, and maybe the next day you'll wake up better, maybe the next day you'll have a stuffy nose. With the flu, it comes on full force.
It's a severe onset. You've got the fever, you're achy. More with the cold, you see more of the runny nose, the sore throat. The flu is really the achiness, the high fever, the headache.
Yeah. Now, can a cold turn into the flu?
It's a different virus.
Okay, different virus. And how about the flu vaccine? I know the first thing that people worry about is, oh, am I going to get the side effects of being sick from the flu? Am I not going to feel well? Is it, you know, do the benefits outweigh, the pros outweigh the cons? Do the cons outweigh the pros?
Well, Freeholder Kylie just got her flu shot.
Okay, she looks great.
I feel great. Gerald actually gave me my flu shot, and she did a fantastic job. You know, my arm was a little sore at the end of the day, but that was it. You know, I had no symptoms. I was absolutely fine, and now I know I'm protected for the season.
Right. That's great. So any reverse reactions may be
Might get achy,
feeling-
sore. But
Yeah.
again, it's not going to be severe. You do not get the flu from the vaccine.
exactly. Okay.
That's the most important.
Absolutely. Yes. We certainly don't want to. Any last advice that you would want to give the viewers, Gerald?
Really, to stay home if you're sick, wash your hands frequently, and get a flu vaccine. It's never too late.
Yeah, and like you said, Sue, very important that if your kids come home and they don't feel well, keep them home, because
Right.
you certainly don't want any sort of flu outbreak at schools or anything like that. You want to protect your kids, you want to protect yourself as much as you possibly can this flu season and throughout the year.
Absolutely.
When do we say that, you know, you hear about people getting the flu up until April. When does the season officially end?
The issue with the question is the season doesn't end the same way it did. The different strains really run a different season. We see flu as early as September and as late as April.
Okay. All right. Thank you both so much for joining us today, and lots of insightful information there, great information, and let's hope that we have a healthy, I don't want to say flu season, but 2020 season.
That's right. That's right. And getting your flu shots will help.
Getting your flu shots and being flu-free this season. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much, ladies. And that's all the time we have for this segment of Mama in Focus. Of course, for more information, you can go to www.visitmama.com. I'm Cynthia Scott.